Hello, everyone. I am, as you can see, back home from the New York Film Festival. Maestro. This is going to be an interesting one because I didn't love it, as you can tell probably by the title. I honestly liked it maybe more than I thought I was going to. I thought it was going to be like a pretty basic, boring biopic, and in a lot of parts it is that, but I think it is slightly better than most biopics that we get. Um, but after seeing like the reactions from everyone else coming out of the New York Film Festival screenings that Monday night, I felt like that meme of that dude who's just like standing up at, I don't know where he is, like a church or something, like saying, "I didn't love Maestro." I know people are raving, saying like some of the one of the best of the year, like blah 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 blah, like huge raves. I don't feel that way personally about it. I think it's good. I lean positive on it, but I'm not raving about it. It's like not an 8 or a 9 or a 10. I'd probably give it like a 6. Like slightly positive. I think the good outweighs the bad. If I were to like give it a one sentence review, the parts of this film are greater than the sum of the parts, like the whole. The parts of the film are greater than the whole of the film. If you catch what I'm saying, like the performances, we'll get into it from Carey Mulligan and Bradley Cooper. Incredible stuff. The cinematography, the direction, you can really tell Bradley Cooper with the direction here has leveled up since A Star is Born. There's some beautiful flourishes in what he does directing wise. The way that he chooses to shoot the scenes with cinematographer Matthew Libatique. I like the way that they choose to shoot the scenes. There's not a lot of cutting like we've seen in Bohemian Rhapsody. So many of these badly. Elvis isn't like Elvis has. We're not getting into it, but a lot of it's not a lot of cutty, showy, edity stuff for a lot of the film. Like there's a pretty good argument scene between Bradley Cooper and Carey Mulligan that I think lots of people are talking about leaving the movie. Um, and it's just one shot like on them in a room. They don't have to like cut to close-ups of them like being all emotional. It's just them moving throughout the space. And you just watch it through one static shot. And I thought that was a much better way to film the scene than like all of the cutting and close-ups and all that stuff. I guess this is the moment that I should go into the performances. Bradley Cooper and Carey Mulligan are incredible in this. When I initially came out, I said career best for both of them. I'm not completely sure about it now that I think about it. They're both very showy performances. So I think in terms of like most awards baity performances, these are their most awards baity performances, especially Bradley Cooper. And I think Carey Mulligan, she has some really baity stuff. Um, I don't know if it would be my favorite of either of them now that I think about it. It'd be like top 2 or 3 still. They're still incredible in it. Bradley Cooper, let's start with him. It's very showy. He honestly reminded me a little bit of Al Pacino at times in here, just in the way he portrays Bernstein. I think this is accurate if you look at videos of Bernstein. Even if you, as his kids, introduced the film, you can see similarities into how I'm sure Bernstein was very extroverted, flamboyant, like charismatic, funny. He I think has a lot more funny, charismatic, like not wacky, but like flamboyant, extroverted moments that stand out more than honestly his dramatic moments. Like there's one scene with him and Matt Bomer and Matt Bomer's wife and their kid in like a park or something, and it's I don't think it's over the top, but the stuff that he says during that scene and the way he acts, I actually found very funny. That was I think a highlight of his performance for me. He does handle I'd say during the first half of the film is like when he's a lot more charismatic and on the lighter side of things. In the second half, things get a little more serious, so he is more serious. But in the second half is where Carey Mulligan shines. It takes more of a focus on her in the second half. I didn't know what happened to her character going into the film, so I'm not going to say it, even though it's based on real life. I'll just say that her life takes a unexpected turn that allows for a lot of great acting moments and potential from Carey Mulligan in the second half. She's great in the first half too. I have issues, especially in the black and white portions of the film, that it was seeming like it was like trying too hard to like give that old timey vibe, like and just like the overly endearing. It felt like they were just trying too hard to emulate like that black and white like movies era. That felt a little phony and fake to me. So when they moved to color, I did start liking the film more. And I do like the second half of the film overall more. I I don't know how I feel about how they utilize Carey Mulligan as Felicia in the second half of the film, though, and what her character goes through. Um, I said I need a second watch to completely gather my thoughts on how I feel about the way they utilize her character in the story in that second half. I'm iffy about it. I think I might have issues with it, but I don't want to straight up right now say I have issues with it if I'm not like 100% on it. But there are moments where it felt off to me. No matter how her character is utilized, like I said, Carey Mulligan does incredible work here. It is very showy, very baity. It is the kind of performance that we've seen win acting awards before. Um, so yeah, she's incredible. I think she is the heart and the soul of the film, very much so. More so than Leonard Bernstein. Leonard Bernstein is like our it is about him, but the movie is about that's the way Bradley Cooper chooses to portray this story. He portrays it through the prism of the marriage, the relationship he has with Felicia, rather than making it about his career and his work, which I like. I think that's a nice idea, rather than having it just be like a biopicy thing about his career and work. Sadly, it's still, even though it's going through it from a different angle, different perspective, it still falls victim to like the biopicy structure and formulaicness, as it's just jumping from like one important moment in their relationship in time to another moment without like much thought or aim, it seems. Kind of like how those biopicy movies, when it's more focused on the work, jump from one important moment in their career to another moment in their career to another moment, and it's like, okay, we're just going through the motions. I like there doesn't seem to be much like like what's the word, focus throughout all of these things. I guess the focus is just their marriage, but it felt a little aimless. It felt like like script could use a little work. That's what it's. It's actually surprisingly very similarly structured to A Star Is Born in terms of like the first half of this film is like these two discovering like themselves and their relationship, and they're having fun and it's a good time, and then they're talking like the ambitions of their career, and then watching their careers go up and get successful, and then the second half takes a more dramatic and intense, more melancholic perspective on the whole story. So it is very similar structured to A Star Is Born. I wasn't as invested in these characters or their story as I was in A Star Is Born. And even though I knew what was going to happen in A Star Is Born, it felt more fresh than what was going on here. In here, it felt, like I said, like it felt aimless, like they were just going through the motions, and that's not a great feeling to have. When I wanted to feel invested, I wanted to feel more emotion about all of this, like I felt in A Star Is Born, but I just felt like I was like going through the scenes like, oh, yep, that was a scene. Yep. Okay, what's the next one? I guess another technical aspect I should address, because there's some controversy around it, the makeup. Um, it's very well done, if I'm being honest, especially for, oddly enough, it looks better when it's more and more intense, like when he's older, and when it's in color, when you can see more of the detail, than when he's younger and it's in black and white. It just like, maybe it's because like the differences were like not as much. Like you maybe just could have used Bradley Cooper's face, but like something about, or maybe it was the black and white effect on the makeup, but something about the way he looked with the makeup in the black and white scenes seemed almost like he was being like de-aged or something, like that kind of uncanny look. It looked off at moments. I was just like, what's going on here? What's up with your face, man? Honestly, don't know how people are going to feel about this film, because if they're going in wanting a movie about Leonard Bernstein, his genius, his work, his career, all that stuff, like if you're a fan, like West Side Story and all that stuff, it barely gets mentioned at all. You don't see much of the work. There's like one music composition, like composing scene that some people are raving about, like, oh my god, this scene, the audience got up and clapped and people were gasping and crying, and I was like, this shot is like going on forever, man. Like it's just like one long shot, like going through all the performers, the singers, Bradley Cooper like going crazy with his conducting, sweating and stuff. and people are like, "Oh my God, scene of the year!" And I was like, checking the clock, like, when is this shot gonna be over? Because why is it this long? I don't see any purpose for it being that long, rather other than it like being showy. And I think that really was its only purpose. I didn't understand the reason for it. The end of the scene I thought was nice, um, but I don't think we needed the shot to be that long and useless to get to that end point. But yeah, if you're going and expecting that, you won't get much of it. So you might be unsatisfied. If you're going in and you really want like, if you're really interested in like how he does the biopic angle from the marriage perspective, I don't think he commits to that a lot more than he does like to the um career work angle. But I still think he could have chose to focus on the whole, if you wanted to view it through the marriage and relationship, I think he could have structured that way better. We have another biopic here that opens with a quote, I think from Bernstein. I forget. I'm not going to spoil the quote. But I loved the way Oppenheimer opened with a quote, and the way that that quote made sense to the entire film. The way that that quote like influenced and like, I don't know, it just connected with the entire film. And the quote here, I was like, oh yeah, there was a quote at the start, and then I thought about the quote, and I was like, why was that there? Like, I don't. Maybe someone smarter than me can explain it. I just felt like, okay, like it doesn't, because the quote is about his work, and like it's a quote that is about like art and the interpretation of it and the influence of it. And it's like this film is barely even about Leonard Bernstein's work and art. So I don't understand what you're trying to say with that. Are you trying to talk about your film itself with that quote? Like, I don't think it needed that. It felt like I saw that quote and I was like, oh, okay. And then it just made like I completely forgot about it and it didn't connect to the rest of the film at all. As for awards chances, this is a player. Most people like it. I think this will really appeal to a lot of Academy members. The work like if other people are even like me and they're like, there's a lot of great like individual parts here. I just don't like love the entire film overall. If it's like people will recognize those individual parts, and then getting that many nominations will then obviously get into best picture. So it's getting best picture, it's getting best actor, it's getting best actress, it's win competitive in both of those. um that's it for acting. I don't think it'll get director. I think Bradley Cooper has clearly leveled up as a director here. I just don't think that the director's branch is really gonna like, they don't like letting actors in. um and it's a competitive year. So I think he could get a Golden Globe director nomination, especially with 6 slots there. Um, maybe DGA, and then he's like the DGA director who ends up missing. It'll probably get original screenplay. I didn't think so at first, even though I have a lot of issues with the screenplay. That would like be like my main issue with the film. And it could miss, like Mank ended up missing. I would have it low down in the screenplay ranks, but I'd have it like fourth or fifth. But that category, especially since I think Barbie is staying and adapted, that category is empty enough that I think it will probably still get in there. In terms of above the line stuff, that's it. Tech stuff, it'll definitely get cinematography a worthy nomination. I think it's a like top 3 contender there. It won't win, but it'll definitely be nominated. Um, editing, I don't think so. Editing is another like place where I have a lot of issues with the film, pacing wise. That I wouldn't have it in right now, but I don't think it's a top 5 contender, so I don't think that would get it into editing. But if it because it's like a 6 or 7, top 6 or 7 contender, so if something like falls off, then it could sneak its way into that 5th spot, I guess. The sound didn't stand out to me, because they don't focus on his work a ton. There's not much composing going on here, so the sound didn't stand out to me. I know lots of people have it in there. I guess it would be like my number one honorable mention, like my number 6, but I'm not putting it in there right now because I just don't think like the sound in All of Us Strangers, which won't get in, but that stood out to me more than the sound in here. The sound in all the other films I saw at the festival stood out to me more than in Maestro, the film about sound and composing. Makeup, it'll definitely be nominated. Costume design, the costume design is really good here. I mean, I think it's Mark Bridges, who did it, who is beloved by the Academy. So I think it'll get costumes. Wins, I think it'll probably win makeup. obviously. And then so the past few years have seemed to indicate that would then come with an acting win. And both Cooper and Mulligan, I think, are both win competitive very much. So I don't think both of them can win. That's just very rare. I don't think the film will be that strong. That would be like immensely strong. They're both like strong and very awards baity, like a lot more bait. Like in the actor category, Cooper is the most baity performance I've seen in that category, much more than Cillian Murphy. I prefer Cillian Murphy's performance a lot more, but Cooper's is a lot more awards baity and what they usually tend to go for. Um, I'm sure. I think of the other contenders, it seems like Coleman Domingo is also a very more awards baity performance. Some people, the Leo mentions, some say it's like the best of his career, some say it's not. So I'll have to wait and see. I think it's going to be Cooper versus Murphy. I think Mulligan is the heart and soul of the film. She is the one who, in the third act, her performance will get you to cry. Her performance in the third act is very like I said, what you see from Best Actress winning performances. It's very awards baity and what you would expect from a awardsy performance. Yeah, those are my thoughts on Maestro. A little mixed. When it comes out on Netflix or theaters, whenever you see it, please comment down below. Or if you've seen it at the New York Film Festival or in Venice, or wherever else it goes next. Comment your thoughts on the film down below, or your anticipation for the film, its awards chances, whatever you want to say. Feel free to comment it. I'm interested to see more people and hear more people's thoughts on it as more people see it, because I honestly think I'm probably more in line with the Venice crowd than I was with the New York crowd in terms of feelings about it. So yeah, I'm interested to hear about it. So please let me know. Like the video, subscribe, comment, all that stuff.